With this country in a self-imposed energy crisis and with average annual electricity bills headed for increases of 50% or more, which will see them rise to well over $2,000 for most households, well, then it was hardly a surprise that Peter Dutton's budget reply speech last night focused heavily on the energy shambles.
The firming up means using coal, gas, hydro, hydrogen, nuclear or batteries as an energy source or to store power when renewables aren't feeding the system. But Labor is going to phase out coal and gas before the new technology has been developed and rolled out. Labor is misleading Australians when it says it can roll out billions of dollars worth of transmission wires, cables and towers for renewable energy in just the next few years.
Yep, he's spot on with that criticism, but it's pretty easy, isn't it, to point out the problems? Hell, the Coalition even helped create them by promoting and subsidising renewables and forcing out fossil fuel generation in the pursuit of this virtue signalling net zero target. But what's Dutton going to do about it? Well, here lies not only the great medium-term saviour for our national electricity grid, but also the enticing political opportunity for Dutton and the Coalition, the nuclear option.
The imperative to create affordable, reliable and emissions-free energy is why the Coalition is seeking an intelligent conversation on the role that these new-age nuclear technologies might or might not be able to play in the energy mix.
The politics of this will be fascinating because Labor is stuck in a time warp, running with the 1970s-style anti-nukes scaremongering.
Oh, I'm happy to have a debate about nuclear energy. The most expensive new form of energy you could possibly imagine, one that's many years into the future. If Peter Dutton wants to argue that renewables are bad and nuclear energy is a good idea, I'd say to Peter Dutton, happy to have a debate with him on a proposed site for a nuclear power plant. Happy to have a debate with him anywhere, Bribie Island perhaps, perhaps somewhere on the coast here in northern New South Wales. I'm certainly up for that debate.
Look, do you really think this is going to cut the mustard in 2022? I don't think so. I think it underestimates the voting public, underestimates Australians. People want energy without emissions. They know about nuclear technology. They know what other countries are doing. They know Labor is happy to have nuclear-powered submarines, and they won't be frightened away from modern electricity generation so easily. Nuclear is a lot better for the environment and our surroundings too. Getting rid of the need for endless wind farms, solar farms and 28,000 kilometres of extra transmission lines. Look, the case for nuclear is overwhelming. And if you want to see it in detail, just check out my doco from last year, Going Nuclear. I think you can still get it on Flash or Foxtel on demand. In the meantime, Microsoft founder, billionaire, environmentalist, philanthropist, and now nuclear energy investor, Bill Gates, well, he argues that because we need to massively expand how much electricity we generate globally without adding to greenhouse gas emissions, then nuclear generation is irresistible.
And unfortunately, the solar and wind, which will play a gigantic role, trying to use that alone without a miracle in storage that we don't expect at all, it just doesn't create the solution. And so having a non-weather dependent, completely green, reliable form of energy generation that can be cheap enough means that there will really have to be some nuclear in that equation.
Yep, Germany is extending the life of its nuclear power plants. Britain is bringing on more nuclear, and France, the nuclear energy leader, is going to upgrade and expand its nuclear generation. It's clear that the rest of the world is bound to go down this path.
Designing a reliable grid that takes the nuclear piece and that renewable piece, that's an incredible opportunity, and we need to do it.
So it's starting to look like the Coalition will go to the next election with a plan to introduce nuclear energy. They should. They should have done it at the last election. This is a great debate to have, a worthwhile political contest of necessary policy. Australia will end up with nuclear power generation eventually. Nothing is surer. Why do I say that? Well, because the renewables plus storage model is just not possible. If it was, somebody would be doing it somewhere now. You simply can't get to net zero without nuclear.